Well, all right, guys, this may be, in fact, the most important video that I have ever made. Like, ever in the history of the 16 years plus that I've been on social cringe media. And it is to say that the biggest crime being committed in America today, but worldwide, not just in America. The biggest crime you can commit as a parent is not to teach your children how to read. And so I brought this, and this is a special book that I started reading to my child. When should you start reading to your child? Well, the day after it is delivered, right? Fresh from the oven, that is the day you start teaching your child how to read. Why? Because otherwise we get the attention span deficit disorder that we have that is expanding across the universe faster than last time, as Coach Greg would call it. And so what you do, it's not complicated. Any parent can do this, almost any parent. There's gonna be just like the plumbing commercial with Mike Diamond, the Smell Good plumber. There are different scenarios in which you can't unplug or unclog that drain, but that's somewhere in the description. Anyway, but for the most part, all parents that are just sort of normal can teach their children how to read the day after their child is born. And you should do that. Why? For two basic reasons. One, if you don't give that attention span to the child early on, they will never get it later. That's number one. Number two, it's the fact that we are all visual learners to a certain degree, and we are all capable of drawing and being artistic and all that. That's not something that human in general will struggle with. What we struggle with is science, as my friend Felion keeps talking about, right? Science, on the other hand, like big words and things like that, those need to be drilled in. And if they're drilled in at youth, right, when you're really, really young, you think it's a game. You just listen to these really complicated words. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. You know, that whole thing there, right? If you hear it when you're young, that's easy to memorize. When you do it now, like if you told me to learn something that crazy now, it would take me weeks to do it. So don't wait until it's too late. And you're like, but I'm a grown-up. I don't want to pick up one of these ridiculous toddler books. Look, it's a toddler book. I don't want to do this. I'm an alpha dog. Right, you're an alpha Cocker Spaniel. Anyway, I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit with my child and teach them how to read with something as ridiculous as that. So I'm going to hear in the back here, my good old friend, The Rock, he's going to come out and say, it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter which book you read with your child. The whole point is you put them on your lap, you give them hug and kisses, you help them stay awake, you talk to them, you have them touch the furry thing here, whatever it is, and you use their little claw, right? Their little paw. You grab the little cute paw with the index finger, and it doesn't matter if it's the left or the right, whatever, maybe do it with both, a little bit one, a little bit the other. This way the child can figure out if they're left-handed or right-handed, whatever. But you can teach them. You can grab this book. It doesn't matter what book. You can have this book if you want them to do that kind of cool stuff. Just none of the artsy stuff. What about this book? What about this book? This is not a good book. Anyway, complicated words is always going to be better. Even if you don't understand them yourself, it's fine. If you can sort of read them to them, have them get used to these complicated words. all the stuff that you want your child to learn, whether it's dance, whether it's climbing or karate or whatever, Tai Chi, it's better to have them learn it between when they're birthed, when they're born, fresh from the oven, until ages like 4, 5, depending on the kid. At some point, they stop listening to you. They want to listen to what the teacher said and what the peers said and what the guy on the YouTube said. They don't want to listen to you anymore once they're like 4 or 5. So if you don't drill in the basics, if you don't help them out to get that attention span early, you've lost them. You've lost them. And that, I might say, is the biggest crime of all that we are committing in the modern world of technology, as Eli the computer guy would say. Read to your kids. Just do it. It's the one thing that you will never regret doing with your child when they're young. It's that, bonding time that you have with a child. Talk to them. The children that do not get ignored, let's say they're not autistic to begin with, but if you don't chat with them, if you don't interact with them, you just leave them, place, zap, put them in the corner with a toy forever. You never really talk to them, discuss things with them. They go away. And then you have the crisis that we have today where apparently, I don't know. I just watch the YouTube. They tell me that there's a lot of people who can't even read. They're like 4 or 5-year-olds, or even going further on with the years, they're completely illiterate. It's not good. Take it from somebody with an IQ of less than 79, right? Someone with an IQ. My brain fits on the point of this needle over here. But I was so scared. That my daughter would take from my genetics and become less than 79. That, fresh out of the oven. The next day I started reading her this book. And so should you. Remember, there's 2 things that are really important about your genetics. You're dealt the card, the deck of cards that you're dealt with, right? This is what they give you. When you're born, this is what you have. But you can either activate the good genes or allow the bad genes to take over. That is where the free will comes in, if you will. If you activate all your good genes, when you produce the next child, the next generation, they will bring those activated genes with them. If you don't activate any of your good genes to pass on to the next generation and activate all the bad ones like alcoholism and all the nasty stuff that's going on, you're just going to pass that on to your children. Remember, the sins of the elders get passed on. It's in the Bible, but nobody knows how to read the Bible. Anyway, that's my little rant there. It's diabolical. Zap, place.